Welcome to episode 107 of the Woolly Thistle podcast, coming to you from the gorgeous state of New Hampshire. Today is Friday, November 15th, and I'm your host, Corinne. The Woolly Thistle brings your favourite yarns from the UK and Europe and makes them easily accessible in North America. At thewoollythistle.com, you will find the best of British yarn, such as Blacker, Uist Wool, and Jameson and Smith, to name a few. You will also find yarns from Scandinavia, including Ulcentrum, Plötulopi, Rauma, and Tuku Wool. At the Woolly Thistle, we encourage woolly wanderlust, and we share information about where the wool was grown and milled. We specialise in finding yarn made at the source, whether that be on wild Scottish islands or in the Devon countryside. We find it and share it with you. With excellent customer service and beautiful yarns to peruse, you will love shopping at thewoollythistle.com. That's 2 L's in woolly. The Woolly Thistle welcomes and seeks out customers, designers, authors, and yarn makers of all backgrounds, ethnicities, cultures, locations, ages, and orientations who possess a love of wool and craft. We value your work and your contribution to making the Woolly Thistle a safe community. You are welcome here. Let the Woolly Thistle do the international shipping, so you don't have to. The best way to keep in touch with us here at the Woolly Thistle is through our newsletter, which you can sign up for at thewoollythistle.com. Right at the bottom of the page, there's a nice little box, and if you put your email address in there, you will be added to our email list. You can also follow us on Instagram at the Woolly Thistle, and remember, we have 2 L's in woolly. So welcome, new and returning listeners. It's great to have you here. I hope you're doing well. The weather has definitely turned more knitterly here. It is cold, and we've even had snow. So we are now in winter. It feels like 5 minutes since the sun was, blasting us and it was too hot. But no, we are here and it's winter time. With all the snow that we have just had, and I think we're getting more, we've had to winterize the chickens since we last spoke. Usually during the summer months, they are further away from the house. But in the winter, we bring them down close to the house so that they can share our electricity, as we have a heated water bucket in there that they can use and that doesn't freeze over. And we also wrap them up in lots and lots of bubble wrap. We try and insulate the coop as much as we can, and we get these little inflatable swimming pools in the summertime, and they come with these huge covers to keep the heat in the water overnight. And it's basically a giant sheet of bubble wrap. And we have been using this for years now. So we wrap the chicken coop in the bubble wrap. We don't use it on the pool after we've used it on the chicken coop, just for those of you who are freaking out right now. We wrap them in the bubble wrap and then a huge tarp over that as well. And that way we just insulate the walls a little bit for them. We make ourselves feel better, probably more than the chickens actually feel warmth from anything we're doing. But it does help reduce any drafts that they might have, and drafts are things that you definitely don't want in a chicken coop. You want air to flow, but you don't want drafts. And we also board up their little daytime coop area so that they don't get blasted by the wind. So we were doing all that just yesterday before the big snow comes in. And they are ready. So they've got their water, so they're not going to freeze, and they are all wind and cold protected, sort of. So yeah, the chickens are ready. And with that, we definitely start to feel like, winter is here and the holidays are coming. And for the first time ever, I've been gorging on YouTube watching Christmas preparation type videos, gifts that you can make, or how to decorate, or how to make wreaths, and just really kind of getting into the festive spirit with watching videos while I'm knitting. So yeah, I'm feeling very Christmassy already. I'm sorry if that is freaking people out. I haven't done a stitch. Well, I haven't done any Christmas shopping, so I'm not ahead. I'm just getting my head in the right space, I think. So I think that's enough blether, because I totally am blethering on here. Let's get started, shall we? This episode includes Off the Needles, On the Needles, Cal News, and the Woolly Thistle update. And quickly, I just want to say thanks very much for watching our YouTube shop updates. They're doing great. And every episode that I have there, which is on every other Friday from the audio podcast, I'm giving away a little prize. So check that out. Your chances of winning are pretty high, considering, we don't have a huge number of viewers yet, although we are doing very well, I have to say. So first up is Off the Needles, and the only finished object I have for you is my scrappy cushion, which I thoroughly love. I knitted this using Jamieson & Smith 2-ply, and I actually crocheted granny squares and put them together, 5 down and 5 across. And that made a lovely little cushion size. And then on the other side, for the back end, or it could be the front end, doesn't matter, I did a mitered square. I did 25 of them, again, 5 down and 5 across. Both squares ended up being very close in size, so they were easy to match up as a front and a back of the cushion. And I used Martine Ellis's free recipe on Ravelry called Knitted Patchwork Recipe. And that's the same pattern I've used for all my mitered square projects. Basically starts out with 32 stitches, and you do 2 central decreases on every right side. And it makes for a very lovely and neat and tidy mitered square, and then you pick up stitches on each side of it to continue the pattern. So I finished that very quickly using up scraps of Jamieson & Smith 2-ply. It sort of hit me in the head one day that I should make something using the Jamieson & Smith 2-ply because it comes in so many colors, and it would make a great patchwork type project. So this is it, and I love it. And I crocheted the 2 sides together, and I stuffed it with a fleece that I had washed. The very first fleece I ever bought, I bought down at the Big E in Massachusetts. I can't remember exactly where that is now. So I had the bright idea of stuffing this little cushion with a fleece that I had bought a few years back. Actually, I've probably told you that story when I took my kids, who were much younger, down to the Big E. It's the only time I've been to that festival. And I loved it, but my son hated it. And boy, did he let me know. He was touching everything. Like, if we were at a stand that was full of delicate pottery or stitch markers or buttons, he was in everything. And we might have been told off here or there. Yeah, he was not having fun doing what Mummy likes to do. So that was the one and only time. I have very, very sad memories of that day. But anyway, I did buy a fleece at that show, and it was a Jacob fleece, and I washed it, and I borrowed a drum carder and carded up some of the fleece, not all of it, but I did do some of it, and that is what I put inside this cushion because it's been sitting for years waiting for me to spin it, which I'm never going to do. So I am in love with this little cushion. It's just a little cushion. I think I'm going to continue on and make some more, maybe make them bigger. It was really fun to do some crochet. I don't do enough crochet, and I know the basics. I can't do anything fancy, but a granny square is not beyond me, and it's not beyond anyone, I'm sure. So if you just bought your Jamieson & Smith grab bag, this might be a great way to use up some of that. I think my squares, I don't know about the crochet ones, but the mitered square ones, I think take me around 2 grams of yarn. It's nothing. I believe it's a 2mm needle that I use. It might be a 2.5, but it's just sort of a sock weight needle, and yeah, knitted up very, very quickly, and is really beautiful. It's really fun and cute. And the crochet gives it a vintage feel, which I kind of like. So that is what's off the needles. On the needles, I have my Café de Flore by Virginia Sattler-Reimer, and I'm back on track with this. If you watched my last YouTube update, you will have seen that I was knitting something completely different that was nothing to do with the Café de Flore, but I thought it was. I was very devoted to knitting that, even though I knew it wasn't right. I knew I was doing something wrong, but I couldn't think what it was. And in actual fact, I was reading the wrong pattern altogether. I was reading somebody else's design for a completely different type of shawl. And that's when you know you're just too busy. You're too busy and your head's up I was going to say up somewhere, but your head's up in the clouds, let's say. You're able to knit quite substantially on something, have a nagging feeling it's not quite what it's meant to look like, but continue on regardless because you don't think to check the instructions for what you are knitting. Anyway, so very kindly, Virginia got me back on track by telling me she got in touch after the shop update aired and said, that is not the Café de Flore. I don't know what you're knitting. Well, I was knitting something else. So anyway, I ripped it out and I started knitting on her pattern, which made much more sense and looked like the finished object I was going for right away. So I'm happily knitting on that. It's my car knitting, so it will probably be slow and steady, but I'm really, really enjoying knitting with the St. Kilda. So yes, so happy to be back on track with that. That's good. And I have cast on my Seaweed Slipover by Wilma Malcolmson of Shetland. This is the pattern that I fell in love with. It's in the Shetland Wool Week Annual for 2019. And I cast that on. We are knitting that in Jameson Spindrift, which is what the pattern is called for. And it's a sleeveless pullover, so it's not going to take too long to knit, and it's going to have steeks at the neck and the arms. So it's knitted in the round, and I'm almost through one repeat, and it's just lovely. It really is. I just love the motifs on this one. There's some sort of curling. It looks like, curves in the design, so it's not very straight lines or points too much. There's some nice curving in the design, which I think is just very feminine and lovely. And the colors really do come together. You might not pick them out individually if you were going to choose colors for this, but I think she's done a fabulous job making some, maybe what you'd consider flat colors on their own. Putting them together in the color work just makes them all pop. So I'm really happy with this. I have been able to try it on over my expanding waistline, let's say. And that's only going to get worse as we get into the holiday season, isn't it? But I did try it on and it fits, so I'm very happy about that. If it doesn't fit, it will be worn by one of my models, one of my mannequins here in the shop. I can always do that with stuff that doesn't fit in the end, but I think it will fit. And, I'm going to enjoy wearing it. I really am. I think it's going to be a practical piece that keeps you warm, but not too warm because it doesn't have sleeves, and it's very, very pretty. So I'm psyched, and I can't wait to get home tonight to get knitting on that with the fire on, nice pot of tea brewing, and it being dark and snowy outside. I'm recording this on Monday, and we're expecting a big snowfall tomorrow on Tuesday. And when you hear this on Friday, the snow might have all melted, or maybe we didn't even get the snow, who knows? But I'm talking as if it's here already, because I believe it is going to be here by the time you hear this. In a major timeout is my Ranunculus by Cafe Midori, and I'm knitting that in the beautiful John Arbon Textiles Devonia 4-ply. I love this yarn, and I've talked a lot about it. I do not love this pattern so much. Nothing against the pattern, actually. It's more my knitting of it. I don't know what's going on. I believe it should be so easy that I don't need to check myself. And when I'm forced to check myself, such as when I'm dividing for sleeves, I find that I've gone completely off piste, and I don't know what it is. I really don't know what is going on with this. But this is my second time dividing for the sleeves and not having the right number of stitches. And I tell you this not out of any desire to show myself up as a ridiculous person. because that's how I feel. But maybe just to let you know that we all do make mistakes and to check your work more often. I think that is the lesson to me. I keep thinking, yeah, I'm fine. I just go. Because this is such a quick knit. Everyone says it's such a quick knit. And sure enough, Susie here at the shop started one and finished it weeks ago while I'm still ripping out and trying to get the right number of stitches on the needle. So bad. So bad. But there you have it. It's in a major timeout. I am actively ignoring it. My arms are crossed. My back is to it. I'm not talking to it. And I will get back to it. I'm absolutely sure. I seem to be pretty good about going back to my projects eventually when I have cooled down and cooled off. So I think that's all that needs to happen there. And I do have my tidal yarn sweater patiently waiting, and I'm wanting to get back on that, but I had castonitis and I had to start my Seaweed Slipover. So yes, lots of sweaters. The next one in the queue as well will be Ellery by Elizabeth Doherty, and I'm going to knit mine in Blacker Lioness, which is a linen wool blend. Hers is knitted in a 100% linen, but I think the Ellery will do really well in the Lioness. I haven't decided which weight of yarn I'm going to knit it in yet, because I believe the pattern calls for an Aran weight, which the Lioness comes in 4-ply and DK. So I'm going to do some gauge swatching for that, and maybe I could get on that sooner than later and get my plan organized for that, because once I was going to say, I think it's going to be a very quick knit, but the last time I said that was the Ranunculus, and it's been anything but. I'm sure this will be an easy enough knit, so I'm looking forward to getting that going as well. I also feel the need to start knitting hats and mittens now that the weather's colder. During our sweater cal, we had Michelle Wong offer a discount, which, by the way, how cool is it that Michelle Wong was offering us discounts on her patterns? That was great. And she had a hat pattern. I don't remember which one it is. I'll find out for next time, but I'm thinking I want to cast that one on because I bought that during the sweater cal, and I think that would be a lovely hat to get on the needles. I'm really enjoying cables and lace together like I had in my Cambridge sweater, and I believe, if my memory serves me, that's what this hat pattern is kind of like. So I want to do that. And what else? Mittens. Colorwork mittens are definitely on the books, and I have lots of exciting things to tell you about that. In fact, I'm just going to tell you right now. The Selbuvotter book by Anne Bardsgaard of Norway has been translated into English. I'm sure some of you know this. It's just out, brand new. And the Woolly Thistle has them in the shop now. And this is the book that has just a bajillion traditional motifs and mitten patterns. And now it's all in English. So, and I think it's really reasonably priced for what it is. So I would hope that you jump over to the shop and order your copy today before they sell out and we have to get more. I think this is going to do really, really well. We have been watching this book from afar, and it was a crazy price to get it from Norway, and then it was in Norwegian, and I think it's about half the price now and in English. So how wonderful is that? So check it out. Run over to the shop right now if you like. Moving on to Cal news. Our 5th annual Mitten Cal will be our next knit along and will be a super fun and celebratory Cal. I'm very excited. Maggie, who is my right-hand gal at running Cals on Ravelry, is helping me organize this, and it's going to be the best Mitten Cal that we've ever hosted. So keep your eyes peeled for more information. We usually run that sometime in February, March, and it's a colorwork Mitten Cal that we are just going to try and pull all the stops out for so that we have a really fun event. So keep that in the back of your mind that is coming, and we want you to knit along with us. Brand new colorwork mitten knitters, very experienced mitten knitters, brand new to colorwork or not, we want you all to be knitting mittens with us. So keep that in your mind that is coming in the new year, and we'll be talking lots more about that as we get closer. So now it's time for the Woolly Thistle update. As always, the Woolly Thistle is doing great, and I really, really appreciate you shopping with us and telling your friends about the shop, as well as sharing on Instagram when you have a happy mail day. Those are the funnest posts. This all helps immensely to get the word out and helps me to continue to grow our yarn and book offerings. And thank you so much for watching and enjoying the Woolly Thistle shop update on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and watch out for a chance to win a prize there. And please tell a friend about the Woolly Thistle shop update. We are just being discovered over there on YouTube, and word of mouth is definitely very, very helpful in helping people find us. So let's talk about what's in the shop. Well, first of all, I want to talk about what's coming soon. And like I was just saying, the Selbuvotter, which is translated into Selbu Mittens by Anne Bardsgard, is now in English and is at the Woolly Thistle. So do get your copy. I think this is a must-have for any knitting library, especially if you're into colourwork or mitten knitting, which I am, and I definitely have my copy now. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I wanted to give you a heads up that we will have a big order from Katie Greenbean soon, and that she is going to be visiting the Woolly Thistle in the spring next year, and we'll be doing a pop-up shop live and in person. And this is such a big deal to the Woolly Thistle because we are an online-only shop and we don't open to the public normally, but we are making a special exception for Katie Greenbean, who's coming over, and we will do something very nice and fun. But I wanted to let you know that that is coming round about the end of March, beginning of April. Also coming to the shop is Farewell Designs by Shetland Knitters, volumes 1 and 2. Some lovely customers have been reaching out to me asking if I would stock this, and of course I will. And it is on its way. As soon as we have it, we will put it in the shop for you. These are 2 volumes of books created by the Shetland Knitters Guild, and so it's coming right from Shetland. Also coming to the Woolly Thistle is Strick Mick 2020 Knitting Planner. This is Martina Bem's knitting planner that she puts out into the world, and I was asked to get these in stock, so I'm happily doing that. And if you like them, we'll get some more, so do check that out. I think it is very nice to have a written record of your knitting and a way to plan out the year. So for those of you who like to do that, we'll have those. Pom Pom Quarterly, number 31, will be with us soon, and we'll have those in stock. Fano Strick, perhaps by the time you're hearing this, we will have our next round in the shop. They're coming all the way from Denmark, and they should be with us any day now. As soon as we get them, they will go in the shop. And Armscott Manor, that is the wonderful Portland yarn from Warwickshire in England. This is Portland, which is the sheep that was noted in the Domesday Book, which is way back to the Dark Ages or Middle Ages. And so this is one of the oldest sheep in England, and Armscott Manor has been working diligently to try and bring it back and keep it at healthy numbers. They also have a small flock of Black Welsh Mountain, which produces the most beautiful dark brown wool, and I definitely have a thing for dark brown wool for sure. So more of that will be coming. We're just waiting for some stuff to come from the mill. They had their new clip milled up, and so more of that will be coming as soon as it's ready to come over. We're going to add a few new colours to Let Lopi, so you'll be seeing those pop up in the shop soon. And we did just get a new order of Let Lopi and Ploto Lopi in. Some of their colours are on back order, such as 9102, which is a lovely sort of medium to dark grey. Medium grey, really. And we use that a lot in the Alfida sweater set. So that's on back order. As soon as we can get that, that will come in. We have more Ul Centrum coming, which I'm very excited about because I want to knit more with that. Shetland Wool Week Annual 2019. More of those are coming in, and if they're not in the shop by the time you hear this, they should be going in the next few days. We will put them in the shop as soon as we receive them from Shetland. Let's see, what else? Well, you would have seen on YouTube, if you watched the last episode, that we talked about Ovis Etc. and our new stock of her Texelar, which comes in sets of 3. There's 3 50-gram skeins. One is hand-dyed by Saskia of Ovis Etc. The second one is a natural grey, and the third one is a marled skein, which is the hand-dyed and the grey barber pole together, which is just lovely. And you can knit colorwork socks. I was thinking that these would knit up a lovely pair of Skin Deer's Selbu socks, which calls for 2 colors, but you could also add that third in the toes and the heels and whatnot. They're colorwork socks. And I'm not suggesting that this yarn would be good to throw in your boots and wear the heck out of, but maybe, you know, just for snuggling up at home, wearing in your slippers, wearing to bed, that kind of thing. I'm sure that they would tolerate that, but I don't think that they're sock yarn in terms of hard wearing. There's no nylon or anything in them. But, you know, definitely mittens or a cowl or a hat. I think the Texelar would be great for all that. And I was super intrigued and excited to find out that Texelar wool comes from the Texel sheep, which we know. But I didn't know that Texel sheep come from an island called Texel, which is in the North Sea, north of Amsterdam in Holland. And when you look at the island online, it's the largest of a group of islands, and it looks really quaint and beautiful. There's red-roofed villages, there's beach huts on these enormous white sandy beaches, and these tiny little rows of beach huts on there. There's a lighthouse, and of course it's dotted with sheep everywhere. It's definitely the sort of place that I would like to go visit, and I didn't even know it existed, so I hope you found that interesting as well. So yeah, get your Ovis Etc. We have a limited supply of it, so if you're interested, I would get on that sooner than later. We put yarn sets in the shop for the Seaweed Slipover, which is my new cast on from the Shetland Wool Week annual. And they did almost immediately go out of stock, but we just had a new order come in, and hopefully there are still some Seaweed Slipovers in stock for you when you hear this. Again, this is made in Jameson Spindrift, which I find very difficult to source reliably. So we get what we get, and then we wait for the rest, and then we try and have enough so that we can get you what you want. I know that there are Yell kits still in stock, but I know we're out of the Bressa kits, the Borough, the Unst cardigan is out of stock right now. Yeah, so, and that's because we're waiting for various colors of yarn to be available to us. And as soon as they are, we will get them in the shop for you. So we just had the Jameson and Smith grab bags, the Baker's Dozen again, which they're so fun to do. They're randomly selected colors of 13, put in a bag and sold to you for the price of 10. It's a great deal. And they were very successful. They all left, and our stocks of Jameson and Smith right now, as I record this, are rather depleted. But I do have more waiting to go in the shop, and we'll put them in the shop. They'll be back in by the time you hear this. They're really fun to do, and I think you enjoy when we do that too. So thank you for buying those up. That was great. Okay, let's do a Marie Wallin update because we have so much going on with her. Let's see. British Breeds, her yarn is back in stock and it's in good supply, but we're out of the Wildwood book right now. But we do have more coming, and they should be with us possibly by the time you hear this. And we're selling the Wildwood book inside a kit, which is the Hawthorn cardigan, the Holly Slipover, and the Walnut Tam. All 3 of those are patterns from the Wildwood book. And we sell you the yarn and the book and a couple extra things, I think, in there in a kit. But you can buy the book separately on your own as well. And it features her British Breeds yarn in there. The Meadow book is back in stock, and we have yarn sets for Nigella, which is the cover design from Meadow, and Thistle, Cornflower, and Mallow. And those are all knitted in Jameson Spindrift again. So if we're out of stock of those kits, it's because we're waiting for more yarn to come in. Shetland, her book Shetland is back in stock along with her other books. We have more Bloomsbury coming. I think that's the only other book that's out of stock right now, but we will be getting more of those. We have just one Scary's mitten kit. It's not a mitten kit, it's a mitt kit. Fingerless mitts. We have one of those left, and we have one Scalloway tam left as well. Both of those are from her Shetland book. And then I think we'll be completely out of stock of the Shetland kits, except for the Yell. And there is a new book coming from Marie Wallin very soon. It's called Gentle, and it features her British Breeds yarn, which we love. It's the most sheepy smelling yarn that I have in the shop. I absolutely love it. It's glossy and beautiful. Yes, so her new book will be out very soon. I will have that as soon as I can get it. I'm waiting to hear from her when it's ready. And there are going to be a couple new colors of British Breeds yarn that will launch at the same time. So we'll get those in as well. If you're listening to this podcast as soon as it goes live, you will be in good position to order her British Breeds gift box. This will be the last gift box that we do from Marie for this particular set of 12 colors. It's the original 12 colors of her British Breeds yarn, along with 4 accessory patterns. We will have a few more going in the shop this afternoon, and I think that when they're done, they're done. We won't be getting any more of those. But of course, we have something new up our sleeves too. So if you're interested in your last chance of getting that British Breeds gift box, which is absolutely beautiful and very enjoyable to receive in a lovely solid gift box with a magnetic closure, then do check out the shop this afternoon. They're going on sale on Friday. They might take a couple of days to sell, so check it out if you're interested. There might be 1 or 2 left. Let's talk about Blacker yarns. We have more St. Kilda in. We have more Tamar in DK and a couple more in 4-ply in different colors. But the big news from Blacker right now is their Gotland wool, which they haven't had in a couple of years. I think they've been waiting for the clip to grow. This is 100% Gotland wool from Blacker, and I have it here. It's going in the shop this afternoon, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's a woolen spun preparation, which makes it kind of lightweight. It's a DK, but it feels quite light, not like a worsted spun. And the Gotland has a lovely sheen on it. It's available in 8 colors. One of those colors is the natural gray, the Gotland color. I don't expect this to be around for too long, and I'm pretty sure that supplies will be limited. If I'm able to get more to replenish the stock, I certainly will. So go check that out if you're interested. And of course, we do have a little bit of Cornish Garden left, which was their birthday yarn from this year. They did 2 weights. They did a sport weight and a 3-ply, which is just lovely. I love the 3-ply. I like the sport weight too, don't get me wrong, but I do love their 3-ply. And we have a few of those left. So if you're interested in that, I would get that as well. That's a very special yarn. We have an order arriving from John Arbin Textile very shortly. It's a top-up of Devonia, which I know I'm out of some colors, so we're getting those in. And a top-up of Knit by Numbers DK, which is their merino yarn. I'm waiting with bated breath for the day they let me order their Exmoor sock yarn. They haven't let me order that yet, but as soon as I can, I will, and we'll have all the colors here. We had that right at the beginning of the Woolly Thistle. It was one of the first yarns I stocked. It is a sock yarn that has nylon in it, and it's a very rustic feeling wool. I don't know, I haven't seen myself the new incarnation of the Exmoor sock yarn, but I know I want it, and as soon as I can, I will get it here. I think I mentioned that Fano Strick will be back in stock soon if it's not already. And of course, we had the launch of Making Stories magazine. Issue 2 is doing really well. This is a beautiful magazine that the Woolly Thistle feels very proud to be associated with. We are their US distributor. And so we can sell this to your local yarn store if you would like them to carry it. Have them get in touch with me. I would love to stock all the LYSs with this and get it out there. But you can buy it from me direct, of course. And this issue, they are so generous with their patterns. There are so many garments in this. I think there's maybe 6 garments and another 6, and I'm going off the top of my head, so I might not be completely right, but I think there's 6 accessory designs as well. And it's just a lovely book to hold and to flip through and to knit from. So check that out. Knitting Outside the Box by Bristol Ivy. Her second book in this series is called Drape and Fold and doing very well. And we still have some Iceland hand knits from Helen Magnusson, which is a beautiful book looking at the textile history in Iceland. And she offers up some traditional pattern designs in there. By hand, I think we're all out of stock of those, but I wanted to let you know the next issue that comes out in January will be focusing on New Hampshire and Vermont, and I'm so very excited. They came and visited us when they were passing through because they were meeting with all the people who do great things, such as Harrisville Designs and Tammy White of Wing and a Prayer Farm. And I think that they touched base too with Odysseer, who's lovely Ellen Mason here in New Hampshire. And so they were very nice. They got in touch and asked if they could stop by the Woolly Thistle. And we had a lovely chat while they were here, and they took lots of photographs. So I don't know. I'm not expecting to make the cut and be in their magazine this issue, but it was really nice to meet the wonderful people behind the magazine, because you know I have been a huge fan of their publication since it started. And I'm really excited to see this one. I've been waiting for them to come here. I figured they must come at some point, and sure enough, they have. And fingers crossed the Woolly Thistle makes it in. We'll see. West Yorkshire Spinners Christmas yarn is doing great. I think as time gets a little bit closer to the holidays, more of us are getting our sock knitting in gear and getting our gift knitting sorted out. This year's design, Robin, is a lovely design. It's a little more toned down than years past, but it's just as festive. And you have a lot of different options for contrasting heels and toes. Of course, the classic Christmas color is the bright red called Cayenne Pepper. And as I record this, we are out of stock of that, along with turmeric, which I think is going to be out of stock any second. But both of those colors are on their way over here. I ordered a huge amount of the Robin, the most I've ever ordered. So we have plenty of that in stock, although it is going. And you want to get your Christmas sock knitting started sooner than later. We're offering all kinds of good deals based on quantity. So if you buy, I think if you buy 5 balls of the yarn in the configuration that we've outlined in the shop, you can get up to 25% off, which is a scream. That's a really good deal. So as soon as we get the cayenne pepper and the turmeric, the red and the pumpkin color back in stock, we will be able to offer you those sets again. But in the meantime, you can order, if you just want to knit a pair of socks in the Robin colorway, we have plenty of that in stock, so feel free to do that. And like I said, we will have the red and the turmeric, the pumpkin-y color back in stock soon. Tuku fingering and sock yarn is pretty well stocked, I think. I'm going to look that over this afternoon and get any colors we're out of back in stock if it's available. Oftentimes, if I'm low on stock from Tuku or it's out of stock, it's because I can't get it myself. Rama in Finalgarn, Strickgarn and Gamelsari was just updated, so we have plenty of that good stuff. We have lots of good mitten knitting colors like the cream and the white and the greys and the black, along with any contrast color that you might like. We have a lot of that yarn in stock and ready for you. And yarn bowls, we just recently received a new order in from Turn Studios, and we have left the sycamore in medium and large. We have large cherry bowls left, and we have medium ash left. So get on those, and those would make beautiful gifts as well. Talking of gifts, we do have a wish list app on the shop, which you will see down the right-hand side of the shop when you're in there. And you can add anything you like to the wish list and use it as a shopping list for yourself, or you can share it with those who might want to get you a gift from the Woolly Thistle. The only downside about the wish list is that it doesn't allow us to put the quantity of balls or skeins of yarn that you might want. So it only lets you put one ball of this and one ball of that, which is really not hugely helpful to us. But if you're using it as your own shopping list of items that you might want to come back in and check, it does help with that. So I would recommend you use that and share it with your loved ones who you want to have come shop at the Woolly Thistle for you for the holidays. And let's talk about the big sale that's coming. Thanksgiving is late this year, and we are going to be having our big sale that we do every year on 2 days. We're going to do Black Friday, which is the day after Thanksgiving, and we're going to do Small Business Saturday, which is that Saturday. In the last 2 years, I've only done Small Business Saturday, but we now have enough stock, I think, and enough help here at the shop that we can manage to offer you the sale over 2 days, and we're going to try our best. So be sure to use your wish list to keep a list of things that you're interested in checking out during the sale if you're not going to buy it before then. And that way you will be really pretty well organized to peruse the whole shop to see if you can get what you want at a better price. I'm working on the sale right now, and I'm going to do my best to give you the best deals I can. And the discounts will be shop-wide. It will be a sale. You don't need to use discounts with it. It will just be the price reduced, and you can just check out from there. So you won't be messing around with discount codes or anything like that. Other discount codes that you might have will not be able to be used with the sale. It is just the sale for those 2 days, and then discounts, if you have them, will have to be used outside of those 2 days. And I think that's it. I'm really looking forward to the sale. We are getting our ducks in a row here, and we are ready and prepared for the onslaught that will be those sales. And I will be shopping too. I need to go and do some crazy sale shopping myself and get those things in for the holidays that I want to get. But yeah, I'd love to know what you will be looking for in the shop, what you're looking to get a deal on. Feel free to leave comments or let us know on Instagram. I will be posting on Instagram as we get nearer the time too that we'll be having a sale, and you're going to have to wait till the day itself to find out what is on sale and for how much though. So yeah, I think that's everything. That's a lot of news today. I hope that you're well, and thank you so much for listening. And I think that all is left to say is, if you go out, take your knitting. Take care. Bye-bye. That's the end of another episode, but it doesn't have to be over. Thank you for listening to the Woolly Thistle podcast, brought to you by the Woolly Thistle online shop. You can find items discussed in this episode at thewoollythistle.com. That's 2 L's in Woolly. You can find our Ravelry group by searching for The Woolly Thistle. Find our podcast on iTunes or at thewoollythistle.com. You can speak to Corinne at hello@thewoollythistle.com. Follow The Woolly Thistle on Instagram at The Woolly Thistle, and join our newsletter for subscriber specials and all the news right on thewoollythistle.com.